Yes, I hope that I had something to do with that. My work fresh out of graduate school was for the architectural supplement department. I had published a paper, my research thesis, in a small journal, a kind of academic journal called Complexity and Issue. From that article, which I really didn't think anything was going to come of, I was working on toward my PhD, originally was my plan, when I was approached by the federal government to take a position as the executive director of this department. They wanted someone young and fresh out of art school who had a perspective similar to their own, because my thesis work was on influencing the art market and, in fact, the content of the art, not by editing or by suppression, or at the time the government was taking a lot of people to court. There were censorship issues, there were a lot of battles, nobody was making any real progress, influencing the galleries, influencing what was popular, what was not popular. There's a lot of controversial work going on. We were a subset of a larger agency, the Architectural Supplement Department. Our responsibility was to buy artwork for government buildings and spaces, even larger facilities of different kinds. Other government organizations would come to us, said, as the government works, you fill out a form and submit it to someone and say you want to buy art. And then our department, there were 7 of us all together, and we would put together a catalog, which we would submit to our superiors, and they would review the work and then forward that catalog on to whatever department or agency was requesting the artwork or requesting to make the purchase. And whether it was in their budget or in our budget, or we would share, sometimes we would pool budgets to get larger works, but primarily the pieces we bought were between 2,000 and perhaps 50,000 at most, because my starting budget the first year there in the early 90s was about $3 million. And that included my 6 staff members and their travel. So originally what we started buying were emerging artists, because we could get their work. I was asked out. So I came to Florida. I have a house here, I have a house in Baltimore, I have a house in Arizona. And after I left the ASD, I had a lot of work that had accumulated over the course of about 10 years. And these were early pieces by the artists that we were trying to influence the outcome of their careers. They had good, safe work. It had, it's exciting, anyway, it's good work. And I had, some of these artists became very successful, and I had some pieces which I've been able to use to leverage to get different properties. And I have property here in Florida, which is how I met Gus. I had been coming down here and looking around, and I saw these lots, and I saw the power was coming in and the sewer was coming in, so I bought a house, or I bought a lot, several lots actually, 6 adjacent lots. And I built a house on one. And one morning, I was out walking my dog when I noticed the police at a lot down the road just a bit. And it's kind of an overgrown, not wholly overgrown lot, wooded, but some dense growth. And there was a guy living there in a tent. And the police were there. I figured it was, Florida is filled with homeless or semi-homeless and transient maybe. And so I really didn't think anything of it, but I was walking my dog and he was standing there, and we struck up a conversation, and he told me that in fact he owned a lot as well, and he was painting there, and he showed me some of his work, and it was very exciting. I wish I had seen him 10 years ago when I was still at the ASD. However, I'm still taking an interest in him now. I haven't collected any of his pieces yet, but I'm soon to do that. 2 of the pieces I have are by an artist who now is doing quite well. I paid $2,000 and $2,500 for the pieces, and they're worth $150,000, $175,000 now. And some of my other works have done quite well as well, not nearly that well, but I've built a comfortable nest egg, you could say. As we saw the artists beginning to emerge or beginning to gain popularity, beginning to pick up a head of steam, I would go to the galleries and purchase, because I myself didn't do the buying. My staff did. We had three members that were direct government buyers, and we had three that were private collectors. They were working for us as contractors for the department. In the department, they were department, I guess, contractual employees. They would do a lot of purchasing, mostly in the New York galleries, and the others, the other three that were working staff members, bought for larger institutions or larger federal offices, federal departments across the country. So they would visit the department or the building when a request came in, and then we would begin assembling a catalog for that department. Over the 10-year duration of the architectural supplement department, I figure we purchased in the neighborhood of 20,000 works. In the beginning, we had a smaller budget of about $3 million, so our group concentrated primarily on emerging artists in the $2,000 to $10,000 range, purchasing at specific galleries, higher-end galleries that would influence smaller galleries to pick up these artists. And over the course of the 10 years, as our success started manifesting itself and these artists' careers started picking up momentum, we would purchase their larger works for larger amounts of money, thus furthering their career. And by the end of the 10-year span, our budget was about $10 million, and our average purchase was roughly $250,000, $200,000. So in the last year, we purchased at most 50 pieces. But they were larger works. They got excellent wall space in larger, more prominent federal buildings. We even had some work in DC, which most of the work we did was outside of Washington. And at this point, the students coming out of school were working in this style. The galleries were collecting this style of work. It was clean, it was exciting, it was very aesthetically pleasing, it was higher concept, it was mostly abstract, nothing that you would walk in and have someone be offended. The works did very well, and in the last year, due to budgetary cuts, they felt that only 50 pieces wasn't really worth the federal government's time anymore, and then our department was closed.